I still remember the exact moment my world tilted sideways. The call came while I was standing in the parking lot of St. Joseph Medical Center in Houston, Texas. I had just returned from a 3-day nursing conference in Dallas and was looking forward to getting home. My suitcase was in the trunk. My coffee had gone cold, and my phone was vibrating nonstop. First I ignored it. Then I saw the caller ID. Harper & Sons Jewelry. My stomach tightened. I answered. "Hello." A hesitant male voice responded. "Mrs. Emily Carter?" "Yes. There's something you need to know regarding a wedding ring recently sold to our store." I frowned. "My wedding ring?" There was a pause. "Ma'am, a woman claiming to be a family member sold it yesterday." The world seemed to stop. "What?" I laughed nervously. "No, that's impossible. My ring is at home." The jeweler sounded uncomfortable. "Mrs. Carter, the ring had an unusual engraving inside the band. We contacted the original records after one of our specialists noticed it." My grip tightened around the phone. "What engraving?" Another pause. Then he read words I hadn't heard in years. "For Eleanor. The truth lives inside." My blood ran cold. Only one ring in the world carried those words. Mine. I dropped my coffee. It splashed across the pavement. The jeweler continued. "Mrs. Carter, are you okay?" I wasn't. Because my mother-in-law had access to my house. And suddenly I knew exactly who had taken it. But what terrified me wasn't the theft. It was the engraving. The secret hidden inside that ring had been buried for nearly 40 years. And now someone else might have it. I immediately called my husband. No answer. I called again. Nothing. By the third call, panic had replaced confusion. Finally, he picked up. "Emily, where's my ring?" Silence. Then confusion. "What ring?" "My wedding ring, Daniel." "What are you talking about?" I heard dishes clinking in the background. His mother was probably there. Again. She practically lived at our house despite having her own home 15 minutes away. "The ring your grandmother gave me." His voice changed instantly. "What happened?" "A jeweler called me." Another silence. Longer this time. Then, "Mom wouldn't." I interrupted. "Don't." Because we both knew exactly what he was about to say. For 12 years I had listened to that sentence. Mom wouldn't lie. Mom wouldn't steal. Mom wouldn't interfere. Mom wouldn't manipulate. And every single time she proved him wrong. Yet somehow he always found a way to excuse her. "I'm coming home," I said. Then I hung up. The entire drive felt endless. Rain hammered against the windshield. Traffic crawled. Questions raced through my mind. Why would Patricia sell my wedding ring? Why now? And more importantly, had she discovered what was hidden inside it? Because if she had, everything could change. The ring wasn't valuable because of its diamonds. It was valuable because of what Daniel's grandmother had secretly placed inside before her death. A secret she had entrusted only to me. Not Daniel. Not Patricia. Me. 3 years earlier, shortly before Eleanor Carter died, she had called me into her hospital room. The machines beeped softly. Her hands were frail. Her voice barely stronger than a whisper. "Emily." I squeezed her hand. "I'm here." She looked toward the door to make sure nobody was listening. Then she handed me the ring. Her wedding ring. The same ring Daniel later used to replace my damaged original band after an accident. "Keep this safe." I smiled. "I will." She shook her head. "No, you don't understand." Her eyes filled with tears. "One day Patricia will show you who she truly is." I remember laughing softly. She didn't. Instead, she leaned closer. "The ring contains proof." I froze. "What proof?" She whispered something that changed everything. "If anything ever happens to me, if someone tries to take what belongs to my grandchildren, you'll know where to look." Before I could ask more questions, nurses entered the room. And 2 days later, Eleanor died. I never told anyone, not even Daniel, because Eleanor had made me promise. And now, the ring was gone. When I finally pulled into our driveway, Patricia's car sat outside. Of course it did. I stormed through the front door. Daniel was standing in the kitchen. Patricia sat comfortably at the table drinking tea, like she owned the place. She looked up. "Oh, Emily, you're home." I threw my purse onto the counter. Where is my ring? Patricia blinked. What ring? The fake innocence made my blood boil. My wedding ring. Daniel looked between us, his face pale. Patricia shrugged. I have no idea what you're talking about. I laughed bitterly. A dangerous laugh. The jeweler identified you. That got her attention. Only for a second. Then her expression hardened. You can't prove that. The room fell silent. Daniel stared at his mother. What? Patricia folded her arms. It was just jewelry. My heart pounded. You sold it. She rolled her eyes. You never wore it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You stole my wedding ring. It was sitting in a drawer. I stepped forward. It wasn't yours. Her voice rose. And neither was half the stuff in this house. Daniel finally spoke. Mom. But Patricia wasn't finished. She stood. For years she had treated me like an outsider. An obstacle. Someone who had taken her son away. Now she wasn't even pretending anymore. I've watched you waste money for 12 years. I stared at her. What? The vacations. The renovations. The new car. I laughed in disbelief. We paid for those. She pointed at me. With family money. My stomach dropped. Family money? Where had that come from? Patricia immediately realized she'd said too much. Her expression shifted. But it was too late. I noticed Daniel's face too. Confused. Alarmed. Like he had never heard those words before. What family money? I asked quietly. Nobody answered. The silence felt heavy. Dangerous. Then Patricia grabbed her purse. I'm leaving. I stepped in front of the door. No. Her eyes narrowed. Move. Where's the ring? I sold it. My heart sank. To who? She smirked. Too late. And suddenly I realized something horrifying. She wasn't afraid. Not even a little. Which meant she believed whatever secret existed inside that ring was already gone. Or worse, she knew exactly what it was. And that possibility terrified me far more than the theft itself. Because as Patricia pushed past me and walked into the rain, one question echoed in my mind. What exactly had Eleanor been trying to protect? And why was Patricia suddenly acting like a woman with everything to lose? When Patricia left that afternoon, the house felt strangely hollow. Rain tapped against the kitchen windows while Daniel stood frozen beside the counter. Neither of us spoke for nearly a minute. Finally, I broke the silence. What family money? Daniel rubbed his forehead. I don't know. I stared at him. Don't do that. What? Don't act confused if you know something. His shoulders slumped. I swear, Emily. I don't. For the first time since I'd walked through the door, I believed him. Because Daniel looked genuinely shaken. And that scared me even more. Patricia wasn't the type of person who made mistakes. If she mentioned family money, it meant something. Something she thought only she knew. That evening, I called the jeweler back. His name was Marcus Harper. He agreed to meet me the next morning. When I arrived at Harper & Sons Jewelry, Marcus led me into a private office. The ring sat inside a small evidence envelope on his desk. The moment I saw it, emotion hit me like a wave. Eleanor's ring. The ring she trusted me with. The ring Patricia had stolen. Marcus carefully placed it in front of me. We haven't resold it. Relief flooded through me. Oh, thank God. He nodded. There was something unusual about it. I looked up. What do you mean? Marcus opened a drawer and pulled out photographs. Close-up images of the ring. One showed a tiny hidden seam inside the band. My heart skipped. I had never noticed that. Marcus pointed at the image. Our restoration specialist found a concealed compartment. I stopped breathing. What? He slid another photo across the desk. Inside the compartment was something tiny. A folded piece of paper. My hands began shaking. Eleanor. The secret. It had been there all along. Marcus lowered his voice. We didn't open it. I stared at him. You didn't. No. He smiled slightly. Whatever is inside belongs to you. By the time I returned home, my emotions were spiraling. Fear. Excitement. Confusion. Questions. Hundreds of questions. Daniel was waiting in the living room. The moment he saw the ring, he stood. You got it back. I nodded. Then I showed him the hidden compartment. His eyes widened. What is that? I sat beside him, and for the first time in 3 years, I told him everything Eleanor had said. Every word, every warning, every secret. When I finished, Daniel looked pale. My grandmother never told me any of this. I know. Why would she trust you instead of me? The question hurt. But before I could answer, another thought hit me. Maybe Eleanor hadn't trusted me more. Maybe she simply knew I would listen. Unlike everyone else, I never ignored Patricia's behavior. That night, we carefully opened the compartment together. Inside was a folded note and a small key. Nothing else. Daniel unfolded the paper. His hands trembled. The note was written in Eleanor's handwriting. If you're reading this, Patricia has already crossed a line she can never uncross. I felt chills crawl across my skin. Daniel continued reading. The key opens box 417 at First National Bank. Everything you need is there. Protect my grandchildren. Do not trust Patricia. The room went silent. Daniel read the final sentence twice. Then a third time. Protect my grandchildren. Not children. Grandchildren. Plural. That wording bothered me, because Daniel was an only child. The next morning we went to First National Bank. The manager verified the key, then escorted us downstairs. Box 417 existed, and it had remained untouched for nearly 15 years. The manager left us alone. Daniel opened the box. Inside sat a thick envelope, several documents, and a flash drive. My stomach tightened. Something told me our lives were about to change forever. The first document was a property trust. The second was a financial account statement. The third made Daniel physically sit down. What is it? His face had gone white. Emily. His voice cracked. What? He handed me the paper. My eyes scanned the page, then stopped, then scanned it again. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The document showed an investment account created by Eleanor decades earlier. Current value, $3.8 million. I nearly dropped it. What? Daniel looked stunned. The account had been intended for future Carter grandchildren. Not Patricia. Not Daniel. Future descendants. Eleanor had spent years quietly building wealth for generations. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was the attached note. Patricia must never control these assets. My chest tightened. There it was again. The warning. Direct. Specific. Repeated. Daniel stared at the documents. My grandmother thought Mom would try to steal it. I swallowed hard. Maybe because she already had. The words hung between us. Neither of us wanted to say them, but both of us were thinking them. Then we opened the flash drive, and everything got worse. Inside were scanned records, letters, bank statements, property transfers, emails, evidence, years of evidence. The deeper we looked, the more horrifying the picture became. Patricia had been quietly moving money through family accounts for years. Small amounts, carefully hidden amounts, amounts most people would never notice. But Eleanor had noticed, and she had documented everything. Every dollar, every transaction, every lie. By midnight, Daniel sat in stunned silence. His entire understanding of his mother was collapsing. Then another discovery appeared. One final folder, named, may only be opened if Patricia steals again. Neither of us spoke. Daniel clicked it. Inside was a video recording. Eleanor appeared on screen. Older, frail, but determined. She looked directly into the camera. If you're watching this. Her voice cracked. Then Patricia has done exactly what I feared. I felt tears forming. Daniel looked devastated. Eleanor continued. For years, my daughter-in-law has blamed herself. My heart stopped. Daughter-in-law. Me. She was talking about me. Emily is not the problem. Tears rolled down my cheeks. Patricia has spent decades manipulating everyone around her. Daniel covered his mouth. Eleanor continued speaking. And with every sentence, another piece of the truth emerged. A truth Patricia had spent years hiding. A truth that explained why she hated me from the moment we met. A truth that had absolutely nothing to do with me, and everything to do with money. By the time the video ended, Daniel was crying. For the first time in 12 years, He wasn't defending his mother. He wasn't making excuses. He wasn't explaining away her behavior. He was finally seeing her, the real Patricia. And the next morning, when a lawyer called after reviewing the documents, he delivered a sentence that changed everything. "Mrs. Carter," he said carefully, "based on what I've seen, this isn't just family drama anymore." I tightened my grip on the phone. "What do you mean?" The lawyer paused, then said the words that made my heart pound. "I believe your mother-in-law may have committed multiple financial crimes." I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Everything I thought I knew about Daniel's family had shattered in less than 48 hours. The stolen ring, the hidden compartment, the bank box, the secret inheritance. And now a lawyer was suggesting that Patricia's actions might have crossed into criminal territory. By sunrise, I was sitting at the kitchen table staring at a cup of untouched coffee. Daniel looked even worse. His eyes were red. His shoulders slumped. The confident man I'd married looked completely broken. Finally, he spoke. "I should have listened to you." I looked up. For years I had imagined hearing those words. Now they didn't feel satisfying. Just sad. "Daniel." He shook his head. "No. Let me say it." His voice cracked. "You warned me for years." The guilt in his eyes was unmistakable. Every time Mom crossed a line, I defended her. Neither of us spoke. Because he was right. He had. Every insult. Every manipulation. Every cruel comment. There was always an excuse. Always a reason. Always a way to avoid facing the truth. Until now. The lawyer, Michael Reeves, arranged a meeting later that afternoon. His office overlooked downtown Houston. As he reviewed Eleanor's documents, his expression became increasingly serious. Finally, he leaned back in his chair. "This is extensive." I swallowed. "How bad?" He folded his hands. "Worse than I expected." Daniel looked sick. Michael opened several folders. Eleanor wasn't simply tracking suspicious behavior. He pointed toward a stack of records. She was building a case. The room fell silent. "A case?" Michael nodded. "For over 20 years. My stomach tightened. 20 years. That meant Patricia's behavior started long before I ever entered the family. Long before Daniel and I met. Long before Eleanor's death. Michael continued. "Your grandmother documented unauthorized withdrawals, missing assets, altered records, and questionable property transfers." Daniel stared at the table, unable to look up. Then Michael opened another folder. What he showed us next left us speechless. A property deed, signed 15 years earlier. The signature belonged to Daniel's grandfather. Or at least it appeared to. Michael pointed at it. "We had a handwriting specialist review this. I already knew what was coming. It isn't genuine." My heart sank. Daniel closed his eyes. The room felt smaller, heavier. Patricia hadn't simply stolen my wedding ring. She hadn't simply taken money. She had been doing this for decades. Then Michael delivered another shock. "The theft of the ring may actually help us." I blinked. "What?" He nodded. "Because it proves intent." I frowned. "Intent?" The ring contained information Patricia had no legal right to access. Michael leaned forward. Once she sold it, she triggered a chain of events that exposed everything. For the first time, I felt something close to hope. Not because Patricia would suffer. Because Eleanor's plan had worked. Somehow, even after her death, she had protected her family. 3 days later, investigators began reviewing the financial records. And that's when Patricia panicked. The calls started immediately. First to Daniel, then to me, then to our lawyer. Voicemail after voicemail. Excuse after excuse. Lie after lie. First we ignored them. Then she showed up at our house. I was watering flowers when her car screeched into the driveway. She jumped out before the engine even stopped. Her face was pale. Terrified. Good. For once she looked exactly the way she'd made me feel for years. "Emily." I slowly set the hose down. "What?" She rushed forward. "You need to stop this." I laughed. The audacity was unbelievable. "Stop what?" "The investigation." I folded my arms. "No." Her eyes widened. "You don't understand." "No, Patricia." I took a step closer. "You don't understand. For years, I had avoided confrontation. Not anymore. You stole from your own family. She immediately pointed toward the house. I did it for Daniel. I almost laughed again. That excuse was somehow worse. For Daniel. Everything I did was for him. I stared at her, then asked the question I'd wanted to ask for years. Did you ever love anyone besides yourself? The color drained from her face. For a moment she had no answer. And that silence told me everything. Then Daniel stepped outside. Patricia immediately turned toward him. Tell her. He didn't move. Tell her to stop. Still nothing. Then Daniel finally spoke. For simple words. Words she never expected to hear. Leave my property, Mom. Patricia froze. The world seemed to stop. Her own son. The son she'd manipulated for decades. The son she'd always controlled. Was finally choosing someone else. Choosing truth. Choosing reality. Choosing us. And Patricia knew it. Her eyes filled with tears. But they weren't tears of regret. They were tears of fear. Because she had just realized something. For the first time in her life, nobody was protecting her anymore. The following weeks were brutal. Investigators uncovered hidden accounts, undisclosed transfers, fraudulent paperwork, property records that had mysteriously changed ownership. The evidence continued piling up. And then came the biggest discovery yet. A second hidden account. One Eleanor never knew existed. The balance exceeded $1 million. Money linked directly to assets that should have remained inside the family trust. When Michael called with the news, I nearly dropped my phone. What? His voice was calm. We finally found where the money went. My heart pounded. Years of missing assets. Years of lies. Years of manipulation. And now we had proof. Real proof. Not assumptions. Not suspicions. Proof. By that point, Patricia's legal position had collapsed. Her attorneys were desperately negotiating, trying to avoid court, trying to avoid public exposure, trying to avoid consequences. But some things can't be hidden forever, and some truths eventually demand daylight. Then, just when we thought we had uncovered everything, Michael called with one final piece of information. Something Eleanor had never documented, something nobody had expected, something hidden even deeper than the money. His voice was unusually serious. Emily. What is it? There was a pause. Then he said, we found out why Patricia hated you from the very beginning. A chill ran through my body, because suddenly I knew. The biggest secret wasn't the ring. It wasn't the money. It wasn't even the fraud. The biggest secret was still waiting. And when it finally came out, it would destroy Patricia's entire world. The moment Michael told me they had discovered why Patricia hated me, I felt a chill run through my entire body. For years, I had assumed she disliked me because I married her son. Then I thought it was because she wanted control. Then I believed it was because of money. But Michael's tone suggested something deeper. Something far more personal. Emily, he said carefully, I think you and Daniel should come to my office. The next morning, we sat across from him. A thick folder rested on his desk. Michael opened it slowly. Before Eleanor died, she hired a private investigator. Daniel frowned. My grandmother hired a PI? Michael nodded. She suspected Patricia was hiding something. The room went silent. Then Michael slid a photograph toward us. I looked down. First it seemed ordinary. A much younger Patricia standing beside a man I didn't recognize. But the date on the back caught my attention. 27 years earlier. Several years before Daniel was born. What am I looking at? I asked. Michael took a deep breath. The man in the photo was your father-in-law's business partner. Daniel looked confused. So, Michael opened another file. Then another. And suddenly the truth began to emerge. Years ago, Patricia had secretly taken money from a family business account. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. The theft was never discovered because blame fell on the business partner. The man lost everything. His reputation, his career, his marriage, everything. I stared at the documents, my stomach turning. Oh my God. Michael nodded. It gets worse. The investigator had gathered evidence proving Patricia knew the man was innocent, yet she allowed him to take the blame, because exposing the truth would have exposed her. Daniel sat completely motionless, his face pale, his hands trembling. The woman he had spent his life defending was becoming unrecognizable. Then Michael revealed the final piece. The piece that explained everything. The reason Patricia hated you. I held my breath. Is because Eleanor trusted you. I blinked. What? Michael pointed toward Eleanor's notes. Patricia knew Eleanor intended to leave control of future family assets to someone she trusted. I stared at him. Me? Yes. Suddenly everything made sense. The insults, the jealousy, the manipulation, the constant attempts to turn Daniel against me. Patricia wasn't competing with me for love. She was competing with me for control. And she had been doing it from the moment Eleanor chose me. Tears filled my eyes. Not because I felt honored. Because Eleanor had seen the danger long before anyone else. And nobody listened, including Daniel. For several moments nobody spoke. Then Daniel quietly asked, "What happens now?" Michael's answer was simple. The truth. The legal proceedings accelerated quickly after that. The hidden $1 million account became impossible to explain. The property transfers were impossible to justify. The forged records were impossible to deny. And Patricia's own statements contradicted each other repeatedly. The walls were closing in. Fast. Within months, court orders forced the return of substantial family assets. Financial penalties followed. Additional investigations continued. Every attempt Patricia made to hide the truth only exposed more of it. For the first time in decades she faced consequences. Real consequences. Not family arguments. Not hurt feelings. Consequences. The day of the final hearing arrived on a bright spring morning. I sat beside Daniel. Across the courtroom sat Patricia. Alone. Completely alone. No family members beside her. No supporters. No defenders. No excuses left. As evidence was presented, I watched her expression change. Confidence became concern. Concern became fear. Fear became defeat. For years she had controlled the narrative. Now facts were telling the story instead. And facts don't care about manipulation. When the hearing ended, the judge's ruling was clear. The improperly obtained assets would be recovered. Trust protections would remain in place. Future inheritance funds would be secured exactly as Eleanor intended. The truth had won. Not perfectly. Not dramatically. But completely. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. Patricia lowered her head and walked past them. For the first time since I'd known her, she looked small. Not powerful. Not intimidating. Just small. And strangely, I felt no joy. Only relief. Because revenge had never been my goal. Peace was. A few weeks later, Daniel and I sat on our back porch watching the sunset. The worst was finally behind us. He looked at me quietly. "I'm sorry." The words were sincere. Painfully sincere. I looked at him. Years of hurt lingered between us. But so did honesty. Finally. "I know." He swallowed hard. "I should have trusted you." I nodded. "You should have." Neither of us smiled. Some wounds take time. But at least we were healing. Together. Months later, we visited Eleanor's grave. I placed fresh flowers beside the headstone. Daniel stood silently beside me. The wind moved gently through the trees. And for a moment it felt as though Eleanor's voice was still with us. Protect my grandchildren. She had. Even after her death. Her wisdom. Her courage. Her preparation. Everything she left behind had protected the family she loved. As we turned to leave, Daniel squeezed my hand. And I finally understood something. Patricia had spent years trying to control everyone around her. But control isn't the same as love. And greed isn't stronger than truth. Because eventually truth catches up. Always. Patricia stole my wedding ring believing she had taken something valuable. She never realized the real treasure wasn't the ring. It was the truth hidden inside it. And that truth cost her everything. She thought she was stealing a piece of jewelry. In the end, she unlocked the secret that destroyed her own lies. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Justice After Tears. Tell us in the comments, what would you have done in her place? Your support helps us bring more emotional stories of justice, karma, and new beginnings. See you in the next story.